back to another weekly Adobe Express challenge with moi. I am so excited. We've been together all month, you guys. And now is our last weekly challenge together, and I wanted to make sure that we went out with a bang. So today we're going to be working on self-portraits and having fun with Adobe Express and bringing our self-portrait to life. On a different side note, don't leave. This live stream is not very long, but afterwards, go on Instagram and look at the reel that I just posted at Brittney Megann, because I'm telling you, if y'all saw the way that this production setup looks, you would have so much more respect for the production team. There is so much that goes into bringing these live streams to life, and being able to run this from my office with y'all and hang out every single week has been truly nothing short of a dream. So we're going to make sure that we do this one in old Brittney style today and end this series with a bang. I'm going to go ahead and move into my frame. You're going to see here that I have already prepared a starter file for you. So inside of the, I want to say the comments, the description box, hi Adara, I see our mods here. Hello, hello. You'll actually notice that there's a starter file for you. And this has already kind of been pre-created so that you can really go in and just simply like press the image, press replace, and replace it with your own image, and you're good to go. So I think that these starter files are so incredible for this, because if you're somebody who's brand new to Adobe Express, or you really love something that I've created already for y'all, this is going to be like the best way to bring, I guess, that to life and recreate kind of what I've already done without worrying too hard about it. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump into today's challenge. So like I said, we're creating wall art with our self-portraits. So here's a couple of examples that you can see I've already created using stock images inside of Adobe Express. And one thing that I've really loved about this passion project, and again, in celebrating Women's Month, I had to choose some fairest females. It was so much fun to kind of play around with some of the stock imagery to bring this to life, but also to play around with a lot of the different background tools, which we're going to be diving into together during the stream. But I did kind of want to show you all some of the things that I've created. So this would be really cool. And again, all of this is sized to 8.5 by 11, so that when you create your own wall art using your self-portrait, you can literally print it from your home printer and stick it up on your wall and have a little self-love moment. So you can see this one here was using like a fun quote behind that you would have saw in one of our earlier streams this month. And then we played around with some of the settings here. You can see we use the grayscale, which I think a lot of people don't really realize that Adobe Express has some pretty amazing tools to adjust your images right inside of one platform. So that's been really cool. I think, like for me, somebody who doesn't really open Photoshop or Lightroom too much, Adara is screaming, because anybody who doesn't know this about Adara, she's an incredible photo genius. But I'm not somebody who like uses those tools too much. Like I want something that's quick and easy. So being able to do that inside of Adobe Express has been so fun. This is just a background that was really brought in. And again, playing around with that grayscale here. Then we moved into this, which I really wanted to create like something that was like very pop arty feeling. So we played around with the duotone tools that we use this month for these kind of like ripple effects of the like pink portrait that kind of looks like, I don't know, it's very pop arty to me is the best way that I can kind of describe that. And then used a fun background here. And then these ones were so cool. We actually played around with the adjust tool here under edit and then image and then adjust. You can see like I played around with the contrast. I played around with, I brought the sharpen right up. I didn't really know what I was doing, guys. I just thought it looked cool. And raise your hand in the chat if you are someone who does things because it looks cool. That is me literally all the time. Don't ask me for technical terms. I'm not that kind of gal, but I am somebody who loves to experiment and loves to have fun with what I'm creating. So if we just reset this, This was like, and again, take off. So that was like without the lighting adjustments. This is with, hold on, let me go back. That is with. And then I think it was just so cool to kind of see that come to life. So again, playing around with the fun background here. We added in some fun other backgrounds and even this background here that has like a lighting, kind of neon lighted orb as well, which is really cool. So what we are going to do is create our very own self-portrait. And now that you've kind of seen what I've done up until this point with some of the inspo, I want to say like 3 years ago, had so much fun with one of my photo shoots. And this is an image of myself that was taken a few years back that I've always like adored. It's probably one of my favorite photos of myself. And I've always wanted to turn it into some kind of like art or something that could be put on my wall. So when I was kind of coming up with our content plan for today, I thought to myself, this is probably a great chance to play around and see how this could happen. So the first thing that I'm going to do now that I have this photo in, which by the way, this is my favorite pink lipstick, low key. I'm going to go ahead and remove background, and I'm like praying to Adobe Express gods, and clearly they listened, that it got these little strands of my hair. That is how you know the tools are incredible, is when they are so mindful of those little strands of hair, right? So I think if we kind of zoomed this in and we kind of had here the flowers kind of off screen a little bit, and then maybe even we actually minimize this a little bit more so that we get a little bit more of the background. I think this is a really cool place for us to start. Now, if I wanted to go ahead and adjust the photo, we could do things like increase the contrast for some like more like drama. I don't know. Adara is probably the right person to answer this. Adara, would you say contrast like is drama? Is that like the easiest way to explain it? Brightness, I always think of like, obviously, if you have like a really dark photo, you can brighten it by increasing the brightness. This photo of myself, I've already kind of played around with the lighting, so I don't know if I want to change it too much. Yeah, I wouldn't, like, if you have a photo that's like really warm feeling, sometimes camera settings can pull really warm colors, or if you like are in an office space that has certain types of lighting, sometimes you can look a little bit more blue toned in images. So that feature there is really, really nice to play around with as well. And we could even like increase saturation, which I think is like the intensity of the colors. I'm glad that we're on the same page, Adara. I'm going to reset that, but some like, look, if we even like sharpen, you can actually see like the line around my lip, which if we're going for more of like a pop arty look, this could probably be really cool to play around with. But like I said, I'm pretty happy with where the lighting is. I did just want to show you all those features because I personally feel like they're really good to kind of like have in your back pocket or a tool in your toolkit. So we could also play around with background colors. So for those of you who have been tuning into this series all month, you know that earlier this month, my team and I created an International Women's Month palette and little mini brand kit inside of Adobe Express. So we could play around with this if we wanted to kind of have more of like a pop arty kind of look and background. One of the ways that I kind of created this effect over here is just by simply duplicating the image, and we'll pull her over to the side for a second. And y'all know, if you pop quiz, Brittney's favorite feature is what? I'll give you 3 seconds. It's duotone. It is so duotone. I use this feature like it is literally my day job. So we could play around with that and kind of create a little bit of like almost like an outline / a staggered effect if we wanted to. I think this could be really cool to have something like this where, again, we're kind of bringing in those little bit of like a pop arty feel is the best kind of way that I could explain that. That could be one option that we could move forward with, and that would be really cool, right? If we wanted to maybe take the background to a little bit of a higher level, a little bit of an elevated moment, there is underneath, if you go to add and then elements, background, this is a great way to explore some of the background prints and textures and abstract patterns that are available. So in some of the starter file examples, like this one here, really all of these from page 2 to 6, I had actually found backgrounds to use, and it was one of the easiest ways to elevate, I want to say, the wall art. That's the best way. Jeffrey, I literally love you all. This has been so much fun all night. Jeffrey, it's been so nice having you here with us. I know you've been a regular on this series, so thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me. So what we'll search for is maybe pink. I want to say pink and orange, and see orange. Wow. That is not orange. Or I think that's how you spell orange. I'm having a brain fart. Okay, so let's see what kind of pops up under pink and orange. We could so have fun and bring in fun prints like this. I mean, again, like, I think it's really like finding what fits your vibe. There's no right or wrong. I've said that this entire month, but I think finding things that truly like feel like the right representation of you for your self-portrait art is my biggest tip. So I could get lost in scrolling here for days. I think I want to find something that just is a little bit more elevated feeling. So I wonder if we do pink neon light behind. That might be cool. Neon light. And sometimes even just searching without actually, like, I want to say putting a filter on could be really cool. This could be kind of cool behind if we wanted to like get rid of this duotone background. Maybe like doing something off to the side like this could be pretty cool. Let's see what other backgrounds we have. I actually want to like bring this back for a second, duplicate this. This is my biggest hack of life, y'all, is duplicating the page. And then I kind of like go back on what I've done. That way I can kind of look and compare as to like what I loved most. So I'm going to kind of like remove this background. That was our first option. Then we had this one with the cool pink neon-y lights behind. I'm going to duplicate again, and let's keep looking for more backgrounds. I loved this one. This one was so cool when we had done that over here for this beautiful glamour shot that I found inside of the stock photos inside of Adobe Express. I don't think it fits my vibe, but it fit that photo really, really well. This could be kind of cool. We had done that in one of the other options. Maybe we'll even take off this filter and see if we can just find something floral. Maybe we'll see what we could come up with here. That could look pretty cool. Maybe pink floral, maybe nothing, maybe pink. Let's just try pink. I swear half of my time is, this is so cool. This is so cool, you guys. This kind of looks like almost, if anybody has ever had an aura reading, it's such a cool thing. Whatever you're into. As I say this, angel number is 444 on my time, but I think this is giving that similar kind of vibe. So if you're somebody that loves the way that that looks, this is kind of giving that glow from behind, which is really cool. So I do love this option. Let's go ahead and duplicate again and keep looking at some of the other background options. This is pretty cool. This too. I wonder if we even play around with the effects and maybe I'll go back, maybe give a little bit of a shadow could be cool. I'm just thinking out loud here. Let's see. I want to know why this is not popping up for me right now. Hold on. Not adjust. Where did I find that before? Not opacity. Does maybe chat knows? Should come up under effects. Normally we got a shadow. I don't know why it's not. Let me reload my page. Sometimes my browser likes to keep me humble. Sometimes. That might not be the problem. No, that's not the problem. That's okay. What we'll do instead is go and maybe duplicate and do a duotone with a white outline. So something, I did get a question before, like what if you want the duotone or like to act as an outline behind your entire image? My little secret for this is we could literally just create 2 duotones and kind of like space them out just a teensy bit. We'll bring this, move to front. No, that's the wrong one. I didn't want to move her to front. We'll bring her over here so I can see her a little bit better. I've never seen so many of me on one screen, you guys. Okay, bring to front, and then what you could do is kind of do something this way. I don't think this is the right background. I think if we maybe remove the background and keep more of a solid color back there, this could be really cool. Especially with the orange, maybe could be cool. And even if we wanted to kind of take these and we could even lower the opacity as well. So it just kind of gives a little bit of like that glow effect. There is actually a way to do this. I just don't know why it's not popping up on my options right now. Like I said, I think Google Chrome is trying to keep me humble. Okay, and we'll kind of match with this one, and it just gives a little bit of a glow effect almost. This looks like my aura reading colors. Oh my gosh, Jaylene! That's amazing. I love that so much. I'm glad that I'm not the only one who knows about aura readings as well. I feel like once you know, is what I'll say, chat. So, okay, so now that we kind of have a couple of different of my self-portrait options, I feel like I want to kind of also do this one of myself. So let's duplicate this and bring this over here. And then we'll literally, this is what you could do is replace with upload. And we should be able to just drag and drop my image in. And it should automatically remove the background. Sometimes it takes a second. This looks like a little crazy because it's in grayscale. This should remove the background, but we'll just press it just in case in the essence of time. Oh, there we go. This looks like a little crazy, this grayscale. So this is what I would do in this case because we have grayscale on here. What we're going to do is go to adjust, and this is where I would normally play around with some of the features. I actually don't know which creator this was. There's somebody who's in the Adobe Live family. Maybe Adara, you would know this, but there is somebody who actually had, maybe it was you, Adara, now that I'm thinking, somebody who takes the color off of their images and then adjusts all of their images in black and white, and then once they kind of bring the colors back in, it's like the perfect tones and stuff. I can't remember who it was, but that's such a great tip for anybody who really wants to like step into, I want to say like photo editing in Express. That could be really cool to explore. But you could see like with the original grayscale, like if we even reset this for a second, this looks like super bright. It's like there's no depth to like my hair, to anything. So I think what would be, one of the best things to kind of make this pop a little bit more is if we turn the brightness down just a little bit. Maybe we could increase some of the highlights so it gives like more drama. It's almost giving fashion. It's giving runway. I kind of love it. I don't know who it was either, Adara, but it was a great tip is what I'm trying to say. And then, yeah, I mean, warmth isn't really going to do much here, but I think if we bring this down to like the cooler tones, because we have the brand, I want to say the brand assets or the colors here as like very cool toned colors. If we even bring a little bit more of a cool tone into the image, I feel like it's giving what it needs to give. It is giving what it needs to give. We could even sharpen a little bit just to kind of, again, give a little bit more of that, like, I want to say like harshness, but that's not the right word. Like sharpness is the right word. Maybe we don't reinvent the wheel. Okay, so now that we kind of have that version as well, this still remains my favorite, you guys. This one still remains my favorite. I will show you as we have a couple of minutes left. I want to show you, let me see. There is options. I know there's options to give certain things a glow. I just don't know why it's not showing up for me because I did it before. So I don't know why it's not giving me that option right now. Interesting. But anyways, if you wanted to create something like this, I did kind of want to walk you through the process that I did for this. So let me duplicate this and then we'll go ahead and like reset the image back to like its original, reset it to factory settings. That's what I want to say. So we'll turn grayscale off. We'll go ahead and reset all the adjustments. This was the original photo. So this is what I want to say when it comes to like playing around with using self-portraits as wall art. If a lot of the time you're probably going to end up removing the background, right? Because like the wall art piece, I feel like you want to kind of like mix and match, bring in different textures. I think wall art in general is meant to look really fun and cool and out of the box, and layering is a really big thing when it comes to creating wall art from what I've seen out there in the world. So when I had originally brought this photo in, and even if we reset it, this was like the original of what we were working with, just to kind of show you in stock images. So the fact that we were kind of able to take this and turn it into this is so amazing. And to quickly kind of walk you through how I did that, all I did was remove background. That part we got. That part we got as much. We turned on tint, and I had actually chose a color. So this is this color as part of my like brand palette. And if you're somebody who's creating custom wall art for, let's say, your office or whatever the case may be, bringing in your brand colors could be really, really cool and playing around with that. And then you can adjust the tint to as much or as little as you like. So I think I had mine around 88% for intensity because 100 was just a little too dark still. But I found like 88 was like a really sweet spot for me. And then all I literally did was went into adjust and played around with the settings here. So, you know, bringing up the contrast, you can see, you know, we wanted something. When I say we, it's me and all my personalities, by the way. I wanted something that was a little bit more, I want to say, in alignment with the background. So I kind of like brought the contrast up just a bit so that it popped a bit. Then obviously bringing up the contrast, I feel like she started to kind of almost blend too much with the background. So I brought up the brightness just a bit, because when you look at this background too, you'll see like the light and dark points of the background. And you kind of want your, I want to say like your self-portrait to blend with the layer behind. Like I don't think that you want it to be like so outside of what the background is, because then it starts to create feelings of disconnect. And if you're trying to create something that's a little bit more like this, where it's very pop arty feeling and you want things to kind of look separated a little bit to create that almost like flow or like separation in it, I think that that's really cool. But like for this, I didn't want to. I wanted it to blend a little with the back. So like increasing even highlights. I think I went max with this. You could even bring shadows down a bit, or like see if we bring it up, you kind of see more of like her hairline. I wanted that like moodiness. So we could bring this down a little bit. We could even, you know, play around with the warmth a little bit more so that it matches more of the tones in the background. And then I brought sharpness right up, because I don't know what it is with this wall art, but I think the sharpness is so cool. And this is it. That's where we have it. So we have lots of different self-portrait wall art examples for you all to play around with. If you're just jumping in, I see Sean jumping in. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me during this stream. What I would say is play around with it, make it your own, have fun. The starter file is there for a reason. And, you know, it's been so fun hanging out with y'all all month. Thank you so much for joining me for another weekly Express live stream. Stay tuned. There's more where this came from. I'll actually be in office office later this week, and I can't wait to hang out with you again and talk about video editing. Thank you all so much, and remember that you're beautiful, confident, capable, and worthy of whatever your heart desires, and have fun creating. Bye, everyone.